Hi, good morning. It is my morning off. I am doing a little bit of self-care and some prep for my busy work week. I had 5 weddings last week. I am going to make some house calls to some friends later for haircuts before heading to St. Augustine for a wedding tomorrow, and I'll be out at Jacksonville Beach at a wedding later this weekend. So anyways, just setting myself up for success. And one of my favorite kind of health self-care rituals that I do is oil pulling. So every morning I wake up and first thing I do is take a scoop of my oil pulling and I just kind of swish it around in my mouth. I'll walk you through that at the end of this video, but today I'm making my big jar. So I'll do this whenever it starts to get low. As I use organic coconut oil in a lot of my beauty rituals for moisturization, my body exfoliants, as well as just in cooking. As a jar gets low and I have about 1/3 of a jar left, I will go ahead and make an oil pulling solution with it so that I can just grab it. So here's a new jar of organic, unrefined, virgin olive oil. You do want to use unrefined. It's just closest to the source. It is regenerative. And it just pulls all those impurities out of your mouth. There's a long history to oil pulling. I've been doing it in Ayurvedic medicine for a long time. So what we're going to do to start is just scoop out a few tablespoons of this oil. If you have a solid amount left, you might not need to do this, but I like to just have about 1/3 of a jar is a good amount to last you about a month. And I will make a fresh batch about once a month. A lot of what I'm putting in it is antimicrobial, though. You do want to make sure you're using a clean spoon. So I will just put a spoon next to the jar each night. That's part of my going to bed ritual so that I can just grab the fresh spoon each morning so you're not dipping the same spoon back in. Okay, so right now all that is in here is unrefined organic coconut oil. And what we're gonna do next is add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Baking soda is used in a lot of toothpaste, but it helps to whiten the teeth and to clean them. So I'm just gonna start kind of mixing that around, emulsifying the coconut oil and blending that in. Next up, we're going to take some pink Himalayan sea salt. And if you have a grinder, you could probably just grind it in there. I like using whole salt, though, and kind of using my mortar. And look at those beautiful crystals. Salt is so purifying. You know, it's great to use Himalayan salt when you can. Sea salt has benefits as well, though. So I'm just going to go in and kind of use my mortar and pestle and just kind of grind this up. This is also really fun, actually. Okay, so once that's ground up, you add a teaspoon of that salt in there as well. And the coconut oil will kind of dissolve the salt. So if there's some chunks in there, that's okay. It will eventually kind of dissolve down. But salt is good for oral health as well. You know, when you get sick, salt gargling is really good. I can walk you through a solution of a healthy gargle, which I try to do, especially during cold and flu season right now. I try to gargle almost daily just to kind of clean out tonsils and impurities. But salt is great for oral health as well. So I'm just kind of mixing that all around. Everything in here is actually really good for your skin and nails too. So if there's leftover, I kind of just rub it into my nails and my cuticles and on my hands. The next step is to add some essential oils. So I will put details in the comments of the benefits of these 2 specifically. There's some others you can add, but the 2 that I'm adding today are peppermint and clove bud. Clove is really good for tooth health. Actually, in past times when someone had a toothache, they would actually just bite on a clove. And it is also antimicrobial. It comes from clove buds, and I'm going to put in 10 drops of this. And I'm going to mix that in. As you work with the coconut oil, it's going to soften. I like the kind of more solid texture. As it cools again, it will solidify again, and then as you emulsify it in your mouth with the oil pulling, it will kind of soften again. Okay. And I did 10 drops of peppermint oil. Peppermint oil obviously is used in a lot of oral health items such as toothpaste. It's just refreshing, but it also has some antibacterial properties, and it's just a nice way to start the morning. So there's some other oils that are good for dental health. You could add in a little bit of tea tree oil, lavender. Different oils have different uses, but in my oil pulling, I generally use these two, clove and peppermint. So that is all mixed up. So like I said, I would just keep this whole jar right next to my bed. I put you can put it in a prettier jar if you want. I just find it easier to mix it right in with my coconut oil when I have about a third of a jar left. And this should be enough for at least a couple weeks. I don't use much when I oil pull, just a little bit. I don't want it to be flowing out, but so I would then just keep a teaspoon by my bed. And like I said, I use a fresh one every night so as not to contaminate the rest of the oil. But you just take a teaspoon each morning, and I'm going to walk you through oil pulling now. But all you do is you'll just kind of pull it through your teeth and swish it around, and it's going to draw all those impurities that have gathered in your mouth overnight. And I'll just do this first thing. I'll kind of slowly wake up and stretch a little bit while I'm oil pulling. I'll come, and you do not want to put this down your sink because it can solidify and do bad things to your drains. So I will actually just spit it right into the garbage can. Sometimes go outside and spit outside or into a napkin, and then discard that. Don't put it down your drain. But it's a good way to start. So I'll do this first thing in the morning before I hydrate. Hydration is my next step in the day. I'm going to walk you through making some spa waters down the line, which is a great way to start your morning and evening ritual, end your day, and start your day with hydration. So, okay, so here's my oil pulling. I hope you enjoyed following along making it. I hope you try this. If you do, let me know how it goes for you. Let me know if you like it. If you added any other oils, I'd love to hear about what you do as far as your oil pulling goes. But here you go. Cheers. This is great for your facial muscles as well. If any comes out, it's great for your lips. So that was the basics of oil pulling, and you'll just pull it through all your teeth, around all the surfaces. You can do this for a few moments in the morning. A great way to pull all those impurities out and just keep your teeth white and healthy. And then you'll follow up with brushing and at least twice a day as well, and flossing, but this will help with your teeth and gum health. Hope you've enjoyed following along. I'll post the long history of oil pulling in the comments below as well.